Good morning, friends. So, here in this video series, we are going to discuss over the Unit 4 of electromagnetic field under EC and non-ECT, that is time varying field and Maxwell equations. So, in the previous units, we have discussions over the phenomenon that takes place under electric and magnetic fields which are not involved in varying with respect to time. So when we think of those things that field that is not varying with time, we call it as static electric field and static magnetic field. In previous units, they have given valuable points about the behavior of electric field and magnetic field under static conditions, that the value of magnitude of the field is always constant irrespective of the time. Here in this unit we are going to discuss over the points which gives the field electric and magnetic field. These field values when varies with respect to time, these field values when varies with respect to time, what are the things that are going to happen and how this going to affect one another. These things are going to be discussed in case of time varying field, and based upon the discussions we are going to come to some conclusions as given by Maxwell's, and these conclusions or these hypotheses that is given by Maxwell is denoted as Maxwell equation. This Maxwell equation forms the fundamental basis for every communication, every electromagnetic wave propagation that is taking place throughout this world. And he is responsible and he is the fundamental investigator, introductor of the communication phenomenon, which might be a wired or wireless communication, everything that is introduced by Maxwell. So, based upon the studies which he had gone through, his pioneers, that what will be the phenomenon which happens when electric and magnetic field values are going to vary with respect to time. So this gives the syllabus of this particular unit. Here we are going to discuss about the variation of magnetic field with respect to time under Faraday's law, and variation of electric field with respect to time and displacement current and Maxwell Ampere's law. So these basic discussions are essential part, because in the previous static electric field and static magnetic field we have not involved in such a discussion. In this discussion, in especially in Faraday's law, the Faraday's law mainly deals with the variation of the magnetic field with respect to time. What happens when magnetic field is varying with respect to time, what are all the phenomena that it has got produced. And in case of Maxwell Ampere's law or displacement current, we are going to deal with the variation of electric field with respect to time, what will be the subsequent phenomena. When these two things get consolidated, and from the previous equations that were arrived from the discussions of static electric and magnetic field, we are going to, or as given by Maxwell equations, we are going to propagate or propose the things that were given by Maxwell's. So following this, we are going to deal with the wave equation in terms of potential functions. The potential functions are electrostatic scalar potential and magnetostatic vector potential. The wave equations are going to get obtained with the help of those potential functions after the subsequent introduction of Maxwell equations. And next, after that, we are going to discuss, or we are going to get involved with the boundary conditions under electromagnetic propagation phenomenon. So once the Maxwell equations are obtained, we can directly derive second order differential wave equations which fundamentally involves differential equation of second order with respect to space and time. These equations governs the entire phenomenon of communications, of propagation of electromagnetic waves that emerge over this entire world. And solutions for these wave equations are going to be discussed. So let me first get through the Faraday's law. So when we enter into the Faraday's law, the phenomenon that we must get ideally noticed while talking about Faraday's law. Here what we are going to discuss is we are going to deal with magnetic field, that is described in terms of magnetic flux density or magnetic flux that is going to get varied with respect to time. So this thing we must be clear before getting intro into the Faraday's law. So let me discuss. So the other thing that we must be familiar with is that there are two actions which are transformer action and motor action. So in case of transformer action, we must be get attributed over the how a transformer behaves. So usually in a transformer there is usually a conductor which is always at rest. This conductor is at a stationary position. That this conductor is going not to be moved with respect to time. Its position is not going to be changed. And over this conductor we are going to apply a magnetic field that is going to vary with respect to time. A time varying magnetic field is applied over this conductor. So that is what we are known as transformer action. So in transformer action there will be a stationary conductor, and this stationary conductor, to this stationary conductor or around this stationary conductor we are going to apply a magnetic field. This magnetic field is not at all a constant field. This magnetic field is continuously going to varies with respect to time, that it is going to be an alternating field. In case of motor actions, the phenomenon that we are already familiar or we have seen in little classes, that there might be a horseshoe magnet, and over this horseshoe magnet a conductor is rotating continuously. This thing you have seen in your little classes. So here the motor action definitely get involved with a conductor which is going to get moved over a field which is always constant. A magnetic field which is a constant here, the magnetic field is going to, the magnitude of the magnetic field is always going to be constant, and this magnetic field is going to be get cutted by a conductor which is moving across this magnetic field, which is moving around this magnetic field with a finite velocity, and this phenomenon is called motor action. So when these two phenomena, transformer action or motor action, so we are clear with these concepts now. In transformer action, the concept is that the conductor is going to be a constant place or a stationary one, and the magnetic field is continuously varying with respect to time. In case of motor action, the conductor is going to be rotated around or shifted over a magnetic field which is at a constant magnitude. So when under these both actions, the flux value is going to get varied with respect to time. Here it is varied by means of supply. Here the flux value is varied by means of the conductor cutting the magnetic field. So this phenomenon gives that the magnetic flux is going to vary with respect to time. Under this phenomenon, a voltage or an EMF is induced on the conductor. A potential is developed across the conductor. An EMF is electromotive force is induced across the conductor, and this induced EMF is going to be get directly proportional to the rate of change of flux with respect to time. So this definition or this gives the statement of Faraday's law. So now we are clear with the Faraday's law's concept. So according to Faraday's law, when a conductor, a stationary conductor, when supplied with a time varying magnetic field, or a conductor which moves around a stationary magnetic field. Under these two both actions, an EMF is induced across the conductor, or EMF is induced or generated over the conductor. So this is the statement, and the EMF thus induced is going to be get directly proportional to the field that is producing it. That is the field that is varying with respect to time. Now let me focus upon the Lenz law. So according to Lenz, what is he saying is he just gives some modifications to Faraday's statement that in conductor an EMF is induced, as given by Faraday's law. This EMF thus generated is going to oppose the magnetic field which produces this EMF. So this is the statement given by Lenz. So what we have understood is that according to Faraday's, an EMF will be induced on the conductor, and this EMF is definitely going to oppose the cause which produces it. The cause which produced is nothing but the magnetic field. So as by the Lenz statement, we have to modify Faraday's statement. So in order for that modification, he have introduced a negative sign over the Faraday's law equation. So this negative sign indicates that the EMF induced in the conductor is going to oppose the flux which produces it. So this is the thing, and this thing is indicated by the negative sign applied over the Faraday's mathematical equations. Next, instead of a single wire, we are usually deal with conductors which are wounded in circularly nature. We have come over this thing, that is while formed when an inductor is formed. So usually we have to deal with conductors which have got n number of turns. So this equation is applicable for a single turn, one turn. The conductor is having one turn or a straight wire. So this equation is applicable. What we have to think, we have to discuss is for a conductor which is having n number of turns. So while we are dealing with n number of turns, while we are discussing with n number of turns, we can have two cases, two specific cases. We are going to obtain the EMF induced on the conductor for those two specific cases. The case one is that where the flux is same in each turn. Across each turn the flux is same, and in the second case, case 2, the flux is going to vary. The flux is different in each turn. This can be seen by this. Here we are having 1, 2, etc. up to n number of turns, and in each turn the flux is going to be constant 1. The total flux linkage, usually denoted by capital lambda, is obtained by the summation of individual fluxes in each turn. So here we will be having pi plus pi, etc. up to n times of pi. So we can have the lambda value as capital N into pi. We have to substitute this instead of pi because we are having n number of turns. The flux linkage value is substituted. Here the pi value is going to be constant over each turn, and the number of turns is capital N, which is a constant, we can be taken out. This flux is going to vary with respect to time, and we will be getting this equation. Induced EMF is given by minus n into d phi by dt. But in case of wires that are having turn with a different flux over each turn, so in first turn the flux value is given by pi 1, in second turn the flux value is given by pi 2, and in the nth turn the value of the flux is given by pi n. The total flux linkage is given by the summation of individual fluxes pi 1 plus pi 2 etc. up to pi n, and the induced EMF is given by the equation V EMF is equal to minus d lambda by dt. Here we could not take n outside as the values of flux is varying in each turn. So this is the final equation for the case 2. So next, from the Faraday's law, I am going to derive integral form and point form. From the statement or the mathematical equation, that is the basic Faraday's law, I am going to derive the point form of Faraday's law and the integral form of Faraday's law. So according to Faraday plus Lenz, we should not take Faraday alone. Usually it is saying as Faraday, but it is combination of Faraday and Lenz. So based upon their combined and consolidated statement, we have the equation induced EMF is given by minus d phi by dt. Here phi is the flux. So the negative rate of change of flux gives the EMF induced on the conductor. So this is the basic equation given by Faraday's and Lenz. We are going to derive the point form and integral form of Faraday's and Lenz consolidated statement. So for this, I am going to take the statement of conservative nature of electric field. So usually we know that the EMF induced in a conductor or the what voltage applied across a conductor is given by the integration of the electric field across the conductor over a closed path. Usually it is given by V is equal to E dot TL. So here, when we take the closed line integral of E dot dl, we have get familiar with this topic in the previous units. By conservative nature of electric field, when we this is usually given by the potential difference between 2 points, and we have denoted it as moving from point 1 to point 2 and from point 2 to point 1. When we add these two values, it is usually going to be equal and opposite, and the answer value will be equal to 0. This is for the case of static electric field. This is for the case of static electric field. But here we are dealing with dynamic magnetic field. That is, the magnetic field is continuously varying with this respect to time. Under this condition, this value is not going to be applied. Here, this value will be equal to the Lenz and Faraday statement. So the value of EMF induced across the conductor, which is the closed line integral of E dot dl, is value is equal to the statement as given by the consolidated statement of Faraday's and Lenz law, that is the negative rate of change of magnetic flux minus d phi by dt. Now I am going to replace this value of pi as with the magnetic Gauss law for a open path, because we know that magnetic Gauss law for a closed path, magnetic Gauss law for a closed path, or law of no magnetic monopole. We know that when we take a closed surface integral, b dot ds value will be always equal to 0. Because why this value is always equal to 0? We know that because a magnet is always going to exist as a dipole, and never a magnetic monopole is possible. When a magnet cut into several pieces, once again north and south poles are formed. There will be no chance for a single north pole or a single south pole to exist. So we can never take this value of closed line integral b dot ds. So I am replacing this magnetic field with the open surface integral of b vector dot ds, where b vector is the magnetic flux density and this phi is the magnetic flux. Now I am bringing this normal derivative inside the integral, and it will become a partial derivative with respect to time. So this is the equations we have formed so far. Let me extend this. Here I am going to extend the previous equations by means of Stokes theorems. We know that what is the definition as given by Stokes theorem is that if we are having a vector and the value of the integration of this vector over a closed line path or a closed path is always going to be equal to the the vector is calculated, the curl of the vector is calculated, and this curl is going to be integrated over a open surface. These two values will be equal. This is the statement for Stokes theorem. So as by Stokes theorem, in the previous equation, I am going to extend the previous equation. Here we are having a closed line integral of the electric field intensity, and this electric field intensity vector is going to obtain from this electric field intensity vector. I am going to obtain the curl value, and for that curl value, I am taking the open surface integral. Now we are having two open surface integral equations. So the equations thus formed before the next step, this equation, this entire equation is going to be the integral form of Faraday and Lenz law combined. And from these two open surface integral equations, we can obtain the point form or differential form of Faraday's law. So I am comparing these two open surface integral. Here the value is del cross E vector, and here the value is minus dou B vector by dou T. Here E vector is electric field intensity, B vector is the magnetic flux density. So this equation gives the point form of Faraday's law. This equation gives the point form or differential form of Faraday's law. Now this is not integral form, this is point form. It clearly indicates that when we take curl for electric field intensity, it is going to give the negative rate of change of magnetic flux density. Or we can once again repeat this statement by curl of electric field intensity, that is curl of electric field intensity is equal to the negative rate of change of magnetic flux density with respect to time. I am not added here the negative because we have already provided the statement that the cause is going to oppose, the effect is going to oppose the cause. So as we have mentioned that statement, I am not going to make it as a negative. I am not going to suppose give it as a negative value, because in the statement itself we have given the effect is going to oppose the cause. So there is no need to explain this negative sign over here. So from this statement, it is clear that from this equation I have given the statement. Usually when the question is asked, you define point form of Faraday's law or point form of Lenz law, you have to provide the statement first and then write the equations. Okay. From this equation, it is once again clear that when magnetic field is varying with respect to time, this magnetic field is varying with respect to time, and electric field is generated. So this is the exact statement we are in need, that when the magnetic field is going to get varied with respect to time, we are going to obtain an electric field. This is the exact conditions that we have obtained from Faraday's and Lenz law discussion. So now I am going to elaborate the transformer and motor EMF once again. So the transformer action is what we have defined so far. We have not involved with the motor equation so far. So in transformer, we are clear that the conductor is going to be stationary. The conductor is not going to move. The magnetic field that we are going to apply is going to vary with respect to time. And when this happens, an EMF or voltage is developed across this conductor. We can measure the voltage developed across this conductor, and the value of the voltage is given by the integral form and the differential form we have discussed just before. So these statements are the same statements that we have discussed just before. Now let me come to the motor EMF section. So in motor EMF, what is the condition is that the value of magnetic field is going to be constant. The magnetic field is stationary. Now here the conductor is moving, the conductor is rotating, the conductor is moving over this static field with a particular velocity. It is clear that this conductor is moving with a particular velocity. So now whenever the conductor is moving with velocity over a magnetic field, we have to get in touch with the force developed by the Lorentz force equations, that is given by the cross product of velocity and magnetic flux density multiplied by the magnitude of the charges. These equations we have dealt in the unit number 3, the Lorentz force equation. And this Lorentz force equation can be extended to current element and current seat, etc. So I am when extending this equation, we will get I dl vector cross b vector, where L denotes the length of the current element and I is the current flowing through the wire. So this is what Lorentz force equation is. And now we can develop the electric field that is generated across the conductor from this equation, that is F vector is equal to Q into V vector cross B vector, by applying Coulomb's law, which we will see in the next slide. So here we can see the value of the electric field that is developed over the conductor, which cuts the stationary magnetic field, is given by the force value divided by the charge, force per charge. This is nothing but the electric field. From the Lorentz force equation, I have calculated the motor field, that is the electric field developed across the conductor inside the motor, which is given by cross product of the velocity which the conductor is moving and the constant magnetic flux density. So now we are going to extend this to obtain the integral form and point form. So here we are having that closed line integral E dot dl is equal to, by directly applying the Stokes theorem, del cross Em dot ds, surface integral of del cross Em dot ds. In place of Em vector, I can substitute the value of V vector cross B vector. From this, this is the integral form of motor equation, and from the above equation we can obtain the point form of motor equation for Faraday's law. So comparing these two surface integral, we will be getting the equation del cross Em is equal to del cross V vector cross B vector. So this is the point form of motor equation according to Faraday's law. So when both the transformer action and motor actions are combinedly present, we will be getting the consolidated equation for transformer based Faraday's law and motor based Faraday's law. We will be getting the combination of those two. So this is what we are obtaining knowledge from the Faraday's and Lenz law. So the basic knowledge that we have obtained from the subsequent use of Faraday's and Lenz law and its derivation of point and integration form is that whenever there is a change in magnetic field with respect to time, subsequently an electric field is going to get generated. The topics beyond this will be discussed in the next video sections. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you.